If you love fishing places that most boaters can't get to, then this week's show is for you. From farm ponds to open ocean, just about any species of fish can be caught using these types of watercraft. Tonight we're talking fishing from paddleboards, kayaks, and canoes here on the Texas Insider Fishing Report.
Welcome to the Texas Insider Fishing Report. Presented by Yamaha.
Welcome back for another week here on the Texas Insider Fishing Report. I'm Brie Gabrielle, and this is Captain Jim Ross, who's filling in for Rick this week. Thanks for being here and helping us talk about everything from kayaks and canoes to stand-up paddleboards.
You know, it's a great thing to be able to have those kinds of little kayaks, canoes, things. You can get into those little backwaters that boaters can't get to.
Yep.
It's a great thing to have. And it's
stealthy.
really inexpensive to be able to start your trek onto a good fishing career in those little places and then expand as you get a little more knowledge.
Right, exactly. All right, well, we've got a lot to get to, but before we move on, we do have to say hi to Dave Farrell and his guest at the workbench and see what they have planned for us today.
Yeah, I got Colin Bukowski here, and we're I'm gonna quiz him on kayaks. How to buy a kayak, which everybody wants to know.
Ooh,
how to buy them.
That's right.
Buy 'em.
Exactly. Get the right one for you.
He's going to do a little quizzing today. Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, well, the Fish Bites Upper Coast region is up first with Captain Carl Weston, and he is ready to help us get our paddle on. So, Carl, let's hear it.
The water temp and the bait are schooling around most structure right now, which means the ling are everywhere, finally in the Upper Coast. It took them a long time to get here. I think we put our first 2 or 3 on the boat just a week ago, and that's very strange for us because when you're snapper fishing and you're pulling those snapper up off structure, you usually see the ling. You know, I always tell people, keep an eye on the surface. That's when you're going to see them. They'll follow those fish right to the surface, but they're very curious. And they'll steal your bait when you're not watching. So always have a pitch rod ready. Always rig mine with about a 3-foot piece of 50-pound diamond fluorocarbon and a 5 or 6 aught trocar hook. And small baits like little hardtails or little barjacks are like candy to these hungry ling. They just can't turn them down. We have a picture of a ling here today. And guys, we're going to move off shore a little bit more and talk about kingfish. Kingfish are being caught on offshore structure now, and the sizes are increasing weekly for us. We're getting some big girls in. The water is clearing up nicely. It's getting clear, less rain coming off these rivers that have been dumping in. And the bait's pushing out further. So all in all, it's a really good bite right now. Just remember to upsize your tackle for these larger kings. You know, they're called smokers for a reason. And they will smoke your tackle and you along with it. Now, R&R makes a great heavy-duty J-hook with a pre-made titanium leader that is awesome for these larger fish. But we have a picture today of JT with a nice king.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's definitely
good.
a smoker. Well, thanks, Carl. We're going to take your R&R tackle hotspots for the Upper Coast region from here. Carl says redfish cast Berkeley hard baits over the oyster reefs. And ling have showed up. Use a freeline rig made of 50-pound diamond fluorocarbon and a 6-aught trocar hook near the offshore structures, and you should find those fish.
Very nice fish coming out of the Upper Coast
telling
region,
ya.
man. That king was looking pretty good.
They get some big ones out there,
Yeah.
40, 50 pounds. I mean, wow.
Smoker, you were right.
Big ones
All right,
offshore.
let's head
Big ones
into the
offshore.
Upper Fresh region with Johnny Geis, who has an old paddle technique to share with us, as well as Bob Sandlin and Lake Fork reports. Talk to us, Johnny.
Hey, Ray and Jim. Well, have you ever heard the saying up creek without a paddle?
Oh, yeah.
You know, with all those many trolling motor options we have nowadays, you don't see many boats powered along by just a paddle anymore. I grew up in Louisiana, and we learned at an early age how to use a wooden paddle to move that John boat along on the ponds and cypress boughs. Most modern anglers don't know how to sit on the bow of an aluminum boat and scull that boat along slowly and catch fish. Sculling, that's a lost art where you use a short paddle, reach out behind you, and pull the paddle through the water, making a figure-8 pattern with the paddle to pull the boat forwards. This is a very quiet and stealthy way to get close to fishy-looking cover. Nowadays, about the only time you see a paddle is when a kayaker's using a double paddle to power a kayak or maybe a canoer. Last year, man, we learned the hard way to always have a paddle on board your bass boat because you can run out of battery juice and not be able to crank the big motor or run the trolling motor. Yep, we were up that creek without a paddle. With no way to get to shore other than drift with the wind, we had to find something in the boat to use as a paddle. So we just happened to have several of those flat, plain old tackle boxes on board, full of crankbaits, poured out the lures in the bottom of the boat. Both me and my partner laid down on the front of that boat and used those tackle boxes as a paddle to reach out and pull forward, and we finally made it to shore. So the moral of that story is I always have a paddle in the boat, and you better know how to use it. Hey, talking about bass over on Bob Sandlin. This reservoir is located on the Big Cypress Creek. It's about 5 miles southwest of Mount Pleasant. Sits in Titus, Capt, and Franklin counties. Lake Bob Sandlin consists of about 9,000 acres of excellent bass habitat. The lake has had good structure and plenty of standing timber, but a few years ago, Bob Sandlin got a new lease on life when the coal-powered power plant, Lake Monticello, was closed. Bob Sandlin sits just south of Lake Monticello Dam and Spillway, and when they closed the boat ramp in the park of Monticello, they opened up one of the spillway gates so that the water level of Monticello dropped to the same elevation as Bob Sandlin, and the fish could move freely between the two lakes. With the dropping of the water, many of the Monticello bass migrated down into Bob Sandlin, and also the whole entire Lake Monticello became a refuge for all fish species with almost zero fishing pressure. Bass tournaments on Bob Sandlin started experiencing heavier 5-fish bags, and the overall fishing on Bob Sandlin is now greatly improved. The largemouth bass population is good, with plenty of legal-sized fish available for harvest. Got some spotted bass in there, but not real big densities there. The white bass is a popular species, and high numbers of quality-sized fish too. Got a bunch of good crappie over there present, and some great fishing opportunities. You no longer will see those 3 large smokestacks or any sign of the power plant on Monticello because they were demolished in July. But you can experience some better bass fishing on Bob Sandlin and then reminisce about those great days we had fishing back on Monticello. Also a very nice state park on Bob Sandlin with boat ramps, so I want to cover this. The viewers might want to give Sandlin a try this summer. Next up, man, the crappie on Lake Fork are still at it. Crappie bite's still the most consistent bite here on Fork. Usually by this time, the crappie are very difficult to find and catch, but this summer, just about everyone's having some good success right now. Several guys seem to limit out dating, having 2 or 3 clients in the boat, and usually they're getting it done in a half day. Guide friend Cameron Burnett has been having great success lately. He's usually back at the cleaning dock in about 2 or 3 hours with a 25 fish limit per customer. Cameron worked hard the past several years, strategically putting out some big brush piles, and they're paying off big time. The crappie seem to bite better for me later in the morning lately, but we're seeing plenty of fish holding on heavy cover and brush piles. Most everyone is using minnows or jigs tipped with minnows at this time, and if you're looking for a hard-working guide, give old Cameron a call, book a trip, and watch him work his magic with that Garmin Live Scope. Lake Fork Marina is where Cameron, Terry Moon, and I work out of, and they have a fully stocked marina, motel, and live bait. Here's a picture of a good bunch of crappie my customers boated this week. Man, the weather's hot, but so's the fishing, so hope you get out there and catch some of the big ones.
Johnny, that's a beautiful catch that those guys are showing in that photo. What do you think has made the difference between last year, other years, and this year? Do you think it's water temperature maybe?
Water temperature is running, Jim, about 7 or 8 degrees cooler. We had lots of cool weather here in July, which usually doesn't happen in Texas. And I think the bass has been a little bit slower because it hadn't got hot enough, but the crappie are really bunched up, and I think it's going to last all throughout this August. Good time to come.
Well, the best part about it is there's always something to catch out there, so you guys can get your customers on all kinds of great fish. Well, Johnny, thanks a lot for your report. I'm going to take your hot spots for the upper fresh region from here. Lake Bob Sandlin is the place to be. The water's clear, black bass are good, and you use flipping jigs, topwaters, spinners, and plastic worms near grass lines, brush, and rocky shorelines. Drop shots, football jigs, and crankbaits are working in the deeper water near heavy cover. Over at Lake Fork, crappie are still your best bite. The lake is still at full pull, and it's in really good shape right now. Minnow tip jigs are working best on those brush piles.
All right, Jim, we'll start. Charm Middle Fresh Region is taking the reins next, but first we've got some rigs and techniques for you at the workbench with Dave Farrell and our paddle pro, Colin Bukowski over there. Gentlemen, are you ready for Colin, are you ready for your pop quiz? How to buy a kayak?
I think so.
He's ready. He's ready. We're going to find out if you want speed, stability, or a George Foreman grill on your kayak.
Ooh, those are tough choices.
Yeah.
We'll be back with his answers.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Fenwick. Bajío. Fresh eyes for a rich life. Garmin. Plot your paradise. Fibertex. Leaders in fiberglass fabrication and repair. Sportsman's Adventures. Fishing for adventure. Penn. Let the battle begin. And Skeeter Performance Fishing Boats. Eat, sleep, fish.
Yamaha's reputation for saltwater reliability is driven by the 4.2-liter V6 Offshore's 97% reliability and overall performance. Reimagined with new advantages like built-in digital electric steering for incredible responsiveness and exhaust rerouting for more powerful reverse thrust. The legacy of the reliable Yamaha 4.2-liter V6 continues, now more refined and capable than ever. Yamaha, reliability starts here.
Are you tired of fighting foul odors in your car? The easy-to-use Auto Odor Eliminator from Starbright uses the power of chlorine dioxide to eliminate even the worst smells. From cigarettes and pets to fast food and sweaty kids, this EPA-registered chlorine dioxide technology fights the odor-causing bacteria, the source of the stink. Don't just cover it up. Eliminate it with the Auto Odor Eliminator from Starbright.
For the Bay and beyond, team up with the best and rule the Bay in a Skeeter. Built for big water or running the flats, Skeeter has a Bay boat designed for you. Prove it with 20 consecutive NMMA Consumer Satisfaction Awards. Versatility, control, performance, and design. Visit your local dealer or online at SkeeterBoats.com. Skeeter, it's more than a boat, it's a lifestyle.
Have you ever felt your heart pounding while feeling the power of a tarpon in the Florida Keys? Or experienced the changing colors of a mahi as you bring it on board? Whether it's in the Bahamas, the Florida Keys, Guatemala, or the Florida Everglades, Murphy's Law Sports Fishing has the ability to guide you to the fish of a lifetime. To book your trip today, call 305-246-0673 or go to murphyslawsportfishing.com.
Well, we're here at the Rigs and Techniques and with Colin Bukowski, our resident paddle guru, and he's going to tell us a little bit about how to go about picking the right kayak for you. It's the first thing that everybody does. Everybody says, ooh, I want to get a kayak, and then they think, well, I don't know what kind to get.
Yeah.
So what do we do? What's our first thing that we want to look at?
There's a bunch of things that factor into it, but I'm going to break it down into 5 things. Number 1, you need to consider the weight and overall size of the kayak.
Right.
Now, the one we have up here is pretty big, and I've been doing this for about 5 or 6 years, so I've kind of worked my way up to this one. But when I first started, it was just a 55-pound, 12-foot kayak that I grabbed off a shelf at a Dick's Sporting Goods.
I got you. So when you're a beginner, you want to maybe start with a smaller size and a lighter weight one?
If you're a beginner, I would start somewhere between 10 to 12 feet. And in the 50 to 70 pound range. And then if you're more on the advanced side of things, you can really advance up into the larger fishing kayaks like this one that are in the range of 12 to 14 feet that can weigh anywhere between 90 and 120 pounds empty. So
that becomes quite a burden to carry around when they get that big.
It absolutely becomes a burden, especially when you don't have the luxury of a pickup truck, then you can just slide it in the truck bed.
Right.
And certain pickup trucks don't even have a truck bed long enough for it.
Correct.
So there's a lot of things you have to consider when you're purchasing that kayak.
Because you'll have to put it on top.
Right, and that brings me into point number 2, which is you need to consider yourself, your physique, and if you're going to be able to do it. What kind of shape you're in.
Well, I guess I'm not kayaking much then, aren't I? I'm a round shape. You want to be a stick shape, or don't you?
You just got to make sure that you have the endurance to be out on the water 8 to 12 hours out of the day. Are you going to be able to get this thing up over your shoulders onto a roof rack, or if you have a lifted truck bed? I mean, that's a whole other thing in itself. And that's just part of it. The whole other side of it is, say you do get a kayak like this and you decide you want to go fish larger bodies of water.
Right.
like large lakes or coastal waters off the beaches, or even out into the Gulf.
Further and further away, further offshore.
Yeah, that's just increasing your chances of flipping.
Right.
Because now you're on larger bodies of water, you're going to be targeting bigger fish. So you want to know if you're going to be able to, A, get back in the kayak if you fall off.
Right.
Or if you're really unlucky, you fall off and the kayak flips over and capsizes, are you going to be able to flip it back over and get back in? So that's something you got to consider. And
you got to get back to the dock too. If you're like, if the wind changes, the sea state changes, if you're not in good shape.
Yeah, and I've been out there where, a day starts out really glass calm, and then afternoon showers roll in, and it quickly turns to 2 to 3 feet and a current that's ripping like 3 to 4 miles per hour. So
that's where a good sea anchor can save your butt.
Absolutely. A drift sock or sea anchor, they even sell kayak ones now.
Right.
So you can go do that.
I got you. Well, what's our next thing that we need
next
to look
thing,
at?
number 3 on my list is that's going to play a big factor in how you purchase a kayak, is if you want speed or stability. And for the angler, that's a really important thing. A lot of guys like to get to their spots quick, so they're going to probably want a faster kayak, which means they're going to look for a longer, more narrow one that's going to cut through the water.
Just like a speedboat.
Yeah, and they're making a lot of fishing kayaks based off of like how they used to make racing kayaks. Like there's a lot of people there's a company based out of South Africa actually that's meant for really rough surf and really rough water, but it's a really narrow kayak and it just cuts through waves, cuts through current. So if you're looking for speed, you want something longer and a little more on the narrow side. If you're looking for stability, you're going to want something that's wide like this. But if you're looking for a little bit of both, this is also a really good kayak for that, because companies like Vibe, companies like Hobie, they're all making the pedal kayaks now.
Right.
And now you can even put trolling motors on them. There's certain brands that are adding trolling motors to the back of them or even in the middle of them. So that's where you can get your stable kayak by, if you have the budget. You can buy that wider one, put pedals on it, put a motor on it, and you won't lose the speed factor there. So that's something you want to consider as well. But for the paddle guys, if you want a faster one, typically you go for the longer narrow. And if you want a more stable one, you go for one that's a little bit beefier and wider.
All right, now we got, coming up, we got storage. That's another thing you want to consider.
Storage is a very important thing, because we as anglers like to buy a lot of stuff and bring a lot of stuff. It's a bad habit.
Yes.
But it's a habit that we all have. So this kayak in front of me, as you see, does not have a lot of hatches. But that's because I am mainly an ocean kayak fisherman.
Right.
I don't like to have a lot of hatches because I don't want water getting anywhere.
Yeah, anytime you have an open hatch is a place where water can get in and then you're in trouble.
But if you are, I'm not saying it's a bad kayak for the bass angler or the crappie angler, because I kind of set it up here to look like a bass boat here. But while there's not a lot of storage, there's still areas where you can put your tackle boxes, bungee them in. There's a big tank well back here where you could put a dry bag and a bucket, or a crate for extra rod holders. It comes with 4 rod holders. It comes with 4 gunnel rod holders. So,
all right, I got you. Well, we got to go, man. We're not going to hit number 5.
Okay.
I appreciate your time, man. Thanks a lot.
All righty.
There you go, guys.
Lots of questions answered. Thank you very much, Colin. All right, we're continuing the paddle party in the Startron Middle Fresh region, where we'll be getting our yak on with Matt Loescher. Let's hear it, Matt.
All right, Brie. So, kayak fishing is extremely popular here in the Middle Fresh region. It seems like I'm seeing more people doing it every year, and I think it's really cool. It's a great new way for the sport of fishing to grow. And, there's 2 things that I really love about it, and that's the simplicity and the access. And, the simplicity of just dragging a kayak out of the truck, grabbing a rod or 2 and a bag of tackle, it just makes life much simpler when it's time to go fishing. Nowadays, I feel like I spend way too much time getting the boat ready to go bass fishing with all this gear that I believe I have to have for the day and all that. So it's nice to just kind of keep it light now and then. And the other great thing about the kayak fishing is it's being able to access some really hard to reach places, like shallow backwaters and narrow cuts, or even places where, there may be a long boat ride where there's not a boat ramp, so you have to drive a long ways by motorboat, and you could just drive your truck there with your kayak in it and dump in out of the woods or something. It makes it a lot easier. And then they're also very affordable. You can even rent one if you just like to use it for the day. And if you're in the Toledo Bend area, here at Living the Dream Guide Service and our marina here, we have kayaks that you can rent just for the day or, all week if you want or whatever. So if you want more information on that, you can look it up at ltd.fish. You can get all the info there. Now, moving right into how you can catch them this week out of your kayak or your boat, whatever you're using. If you're interested in chasing the bass this week, it looks like a good place to start would be down there in the Austin area. Been talking with Jared Poole from Hill Country Hammer Guide Service, and he reports that there's a good topwater bite going on in the middle of the day there at LBJ, and along the seawalls is where they're catching them. Those fish are just getting right up against the seawalls, probably seeking out that shade. He said overall the bite's kind of a grind right now, but they are catching quality fish, so it's kind of worth the reward to wait for the bites. And they're just having to cover a little more water to catch the number of fish that they're catching. He said they're also pulling some nice fish from underneath docks that are hanging over deep water on a jig. And he said that the water temp up there or down there is all the way around 90 degrees right now. So definitely hot. We're in those dog days of summer, so stay hydrated. We got a photo here for you of one of Jared's clients holding up 2 nice bass that they caught. So as you can see there, they're holding up some pretty nice fish. So they're still catching them, just not catching quite the quantity that they normally do. Now moving over to Lake Buchanan, Jared tells me that there the water temp is a little bit cooler. It's only 85 degrees there, and they're catching their fish there by dragging a Carolina rig in 20 to 30 feet of water around flats and on rock piles. Now, up in the upper end of my region at Richland Chambers, Mr. Thurman Selman up there with Bass Specialty Guide Service also reports that the bite's a little tougher as well for him. He says that the water temp is in the mid-80s, and the water's fairly clear right now. So some bass are being caught around docks with good shade, and then the larger fish are kind of tough to come by, but the ones he's catching are on deep structure. Then over on Lake Fairfield, Mr. Thurman says that this week the bass are a little easier to find, but they're just kind of tough to catch. He said that they're chasing shad a lot on points right now, and they're really dialed in on those shad that they're chasing. So it's just kind of tough to get their attention because they're moving around all the time. But he did say that he's catching some on deep diving crankbaits in about 20 to 25 foot of water. And he also says that the better quality fish are coming from the grass, and he's catching them by punching a skunk cape with a 1 ounce weight into that really thick stuff, in the deepest grass you can find. Now the crappie, they've actually been biting a little bit better this week. Sometimes they're kind of opposite of the bass, and this is the case right now. So they're keeping us on the bright side here at Toledo Bend. They've actually bit really good, and that bite's happening in about 20 to 30 foot of water out on standing timber and in the shaded bridge pilings. And it's nice when you can get under those bridges as well because you can hide yourself in the shade too. Live minnows and panfish assassin jigs are the ticket for catching them right now. And I'm going to leave you with a photo of a group that has a nice table full of crappie there and a flathead catfish to top it off.
Nice.
That's a pile of fish. Thanks for the report, Matt. I'm going to take your hot spots for your region from here. The middle fresh hot spots are bass are biting crankbaits and topwater plugs over deep water areas. Crappie are biting well in standing timber and around bridge pilings in 20 to 30 feet of water, Brie.
All right, Jim. Well, here's everyone's weekly reminder that if you would like a chance to win this exact 1952 Chevy 3100 hot rod we have right here on set, now is your chance. We're going to end up picking that winner at the end of the season, end of September. So all you have to do to purchase those raffle tickets is go to ccaflorida.org/hot rod. You should buy some tickets. Could be yours.
Yeah. And the last one, I missed out on it by 2 numbers.
What?
I know. So this one's mine.
This could be
I'm ready. I'm so ready for it.
All right, we've got our Garmin Middle Coast and Lower Fresh regions to paddle through next. So make sure you stay hooked, and remember to keep up with everything fishing in Texas. Make sure to head on over to our website, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and to see new fishing adventures along with reports, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Captain Rick Murphy. We'll see you soon.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Contender Boats, always in the game. Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin, the best lures, period. Alvy Reels, a better way to fish. Berkeley, your fish, our science. Murphy's Law Sport Fishing. Book your trip today at murphyslawsportfishing.com. And Penn, let the battle begin.
The Yamaha VMAX V6 SHO continues to deliver the level of performance that pro bass and multi-species anglers demand. Underneath a bold and aggressive new look, an upgraded charging system with 40% more charging power meets the amped-up demand for today's advanced electronics. The VMAX SHO, raw power, reliability, and exhilarating performance for every angler who loves the sport enough to invest in the best. Yamaha, reliability starts here.
For more than 20 years, anglers everywhere have come to know one thing, that nothing says no to fish bites. We are the Fish Bites Nation, and this is your invitation. So grab some fish bites and get busy casting, because you can't join the nation without doing the catching. Ask for Fish Bites or Fish Bites Fight Club lures, or visit fishbites.com.
Today's Power Pole tip is about the Sea Monster Network. As most of you know, Power Pole has always been a technology-driven company and will continue to innovate new products and technologies now and into the future. It was about 6 or 7 years ago that we looked at all the different technologies that were available on the market, but they all had limitations like Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. So we designed and built the Sea Monster Network from the ground up, specifically designed it for the marine industry so that anglers could wirelessly control everything on their boat from bow to stern. Now, it may not be as obvious as the Power Pole anchors on the back of everyone's boat, but it will soon be just as widespread. So, next time you're in the store and you're picking out your favorite marine accessory, look for the Sea Monster logo on those products. And that is your Power Pole tip.
Jim, I'm hearing really good things about this Power Pole charge. Do you have any experience with it yet?
I just got one. I'm going to put it on my new Skeeter boat when I get it. Yes. I cannot wait to get this thing because everybody I've talked to is really excited about it. It saves weight. It does multiple things that regular chargers don't do. That charge on the fly, the jump start feature. What a great product.
Game changer for sure.
And by Power Pole. A name you can trust.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right, the paddle game is strong in the Garmin Middle Coast region, and Captain Bing Grimes is on the line to give us the inside scoop. So go for it, Bing.
I'll tell you, lots of guys are trolling kayaks and paddling their way back to the back bows and sloughs in Matagorda. In fact, St. Mary's Slough, right behind the back door of my Sunrise Lodge, there's lots of catch and release redfish and flounder in about knee-deep water. Lately, it's become popular for kayakers to paddle past the second, third bars along the beach and soak those big baits for big sharks. It's a ride when you get a 6-footer and it's towing you around in that little kayak. It's pretty cool. The truth is you can paddle right over some of the deepest mud in the bay and find fish where no boat or or wader could tread, and there's just a lot of fish that never get touched in those back lakes because it's just tough to get back there unless you have a kayak. Lately, large shrimp and scores of pogies and mullet have been right on the beach, and those big trout have been following. If you see a shrimp boat along the beach, that means there's a lot of trout on the beach, and that's what we've seen this week. A lot of trout and redfish coming from the surf. In East Matagorda Bay, the cuts and guts along the north shoreline have held good trout this week. The bay's been a little off color with southwest winds, but the ICW has been good with the incoming tide. It's bringing all that green tide in the bays. We've been getting trout on Little Johns and Bass Assassin Sea Shad. Then in Port O'Connor, Guy Lynn Smith says those deep guts near Pascaval have held the best bite. The old Coast Guard station and the Army Hoe are holding good trout. There are a lot of trout tight to the rocks at the jetty as well.
and with the surf being as flat as it is right now, I mean, the surf, the jetty, and anywhere near the pass are holding those tide running trout. Rockport guide Red Price says he's been working shallow areas, and he says he's been tossing those new Mirror custom double Ds in the Gringo and the Pearl Harbor color. In Freeport, the jetty's been good there. The seas are calm there, and that jetty has just been on fire for a lot of trout on live shrimp. Many of the bays around the area, tides are a little bit below normal, so a lot of those fish are hanging out in the sloughs. But San Luis Pass has been good as well for trout on live shrimp and soft plastics. Photo there was trout we found on fly while working in West Matagorda Bay. Guy drove in to catch a trout on fly, and man, we put him on one. Redfish, with tides the lowest of the summer, the redfish are on the same spot they frequent in the winter. Good catches have come around Mitchell's Cut in Sargent area. Anglers are catching pogies with cast nets, and fish are cutting them up in Carolina rigging on a Kell hook. It's been all you want. Off the tip of the jetty, it's been all you want as well at the Matagorda jetty. The incoming tide's been best. A lot of slot-sized reds along with bull reds roaming those rocks. There's a lot of pogies on the beach right now through August, and those big redfish are shadowing those pogies, as are tarpon. And so it just puts, and with a lot of big old shrimp on the beach as well, it just makes it just game on for anything. Schools of red are circling the middle of the bay at East Matagorda Bay as well. That low tides brought them off the shorelines. They're in the middle of the bay in 4 to 5 foot of water. We're throwing live shrimp and imitation shrimp under a mid-coast popping cork. Offshore with seas running 1 to 2 foot, it's been a boon for those folks out there like Michael Quebeca and Matagorda. He said there's kingfish everywhere within inside the beach. Many inshore anglers caught their kings this week, and they're taking they'll go out and catch the trout on the beach and go out and catch kingfish. It's been pretty good. They're trolling around any rigs and structure, and a lot of them are just getting right behind those shrimp boats, because those shrimp boats are within sight of the beach because they're catching all those big 6 and 8 count white shrimp. And so when they're culling, all those kingfish and dorado and everything are right behind them. And so it's been pretty good. There's a wahoo all over the weed lines from Freeport to Port Aransas. Dorado, triple tail are good on squid, sardines, mullet, sand trout. Tarpon's been showing on the beach in about 20 to 40 foot of water. Some have been within sight of the Port O'Connor jetty. They've been best on mullet, pogies, and coon pops. So next week we'll be talking about August. It's finally here on the Garmin Middle Coast region, and it's just been a good week here. Please be good stewards of our bay. We ask you to just protect our natural resources and put back more than you take.
Thanks, Bank. Great report tonight. Here are the MirrOlure hotspots from the Middle Coast region. Bink says you need to get out there because the trout are good in the surf, and you need to toss Berkeley topwaters and bass assassins. And then redfish are good at the Freeport jetty on pogies and large shrimp.
Hallelujah. August is here. I'm so excited because this little man's coming out sometime in August.
Ready to pop out.
Yes,
huh?
I'm very excited. All right, there are many reasons to grab the paddle and get out on the water in the lower fresh region. So let's see what those reasons are with Matt Reed. Go for it, Matt.
All right, Brie, let's get this thing rolling. There's so many people into paddling now. The kayaks have exploded. It's a great way to get to unpressured fish on our rivers and area lakes. It allows you to get to access every little nook and cranny, backwater that, big boats can't get into. A lot of really good fishing back in those areas. When you get back there, you want to keep it pretty basic. Spinnerbaits, Texas rig worms, or small crankbaits will do the job in those back areas. Just find you some public access close to those and paddle your way there. And now, there's that whole other category of kayaks now, the big ones. I mean, they're just nearly like a boat. They're designed for fishing open water. They've got all the equipment like you'd have on your boat, all the GPSs, the sonar, all the good goodies on there. So your options are basically limitless. Just get out there and just catch all you can and take care of our resource. Going to get started into largemouth bass now. Falcon Lake bass have slowed down a little bit because we got a little bit of a rise, and that always makes those fish slow down a bit. When it starts falling, they'll kick wide open again. But big ones are still on the menu. Rock structure is your dominant target in that 12 to 20 foot range, 10 to 20 foot, something on that order. Big stand-up head, jig heads with plastics on them. Texas rigs and crankbaits are your primary techniques. Any cast can catch that giant that you're looking for down there at Falcon. That's why it's so special to me. Mike Bates has sent me a report from Choke Canyon. The bass are still very scattered because the water's come up in a whole bunch of the new cover. They're anywhere from 2 to 20 feet right now. Water temperatures are getting close to that 90-degree mark, so that's kind of hindered the bite a little bit. The hydrilla is starting to mat out all around the lake, and it should continue to do that for the rest of the summer. That's a really good area to concentrate. Early in the mornings, you want to look at the inside edge of the grass with moving baits. Rest of the day, you want to get on that outside with Texas rig plastics. When it mats out, get you a braided line of 1 ounce weight and punch creature bait or some type of soft plastic through the heavy canopy of that hydrilla. They'll be under it in the shades. Great way to catch you some big ones. Brian Cotter sent reports from that Austin area. Lake Travis is fishing really good. The mornings, the numbers are great in the deep marinas with schooling fish. Throw small swim baits, jerk baits, or jigging spoons to get those active fish that are chasing shad. Later, move out to the deep ledges and drag a football jig or a Texas rig to get you that bigger bite. Hinks Lake is also fishing pretty good. Early in the mornings, throw a frog around the water willow, rocks, or any type of laydown, in that 2 to 3 foot range and that shallow cover. That's a way to catch some really good ones in the morning. Later, you want to concentrate on the docks. Skip a Texas rig, the soft plastic way back under the shade, or work a drop shot on the edges of the docks. That'll get you a lot of bites because they're associated with that shade. Don't forget also to throw a square bill along the retaining walls. There's been some really big ones caught doing that lately, and that's a big one's always what we want to target. Lake Bastrop, we got a lot of schooling going on early in the morning on the north end of the dam. Some activity in the hot water discharge as well. Typical summer, main lake fish are starting to school too. Bastrop is a lake where there's a lot of surface activity. Those fish can be caught on top water, small swim baits. Also, you may want to throw a deep crankbait under them to maybe target one of the bigger ones that's just under them picking up scraps. Fayette County, the bass have been good. The best pattern's been out on the main lake structure. Points, road beds, and any other type of rock are your primary targets. Carolina rigs and heavy shaky heads are producing best, and the numbers have been really good there. A lot of solid fish in that 3 to 6 pound class. My pictures this week, I kind of combined the two topics, the paddling and the bass. I love all three of those pictures. You got a kid in a kayak with one of my buddies, and a couple other awesome pictures. Just shows how much fun it is to get out on the water and get after it.
Well, thanks for that report, Matt. Yeah, those are some great photos, great action shots as well.
Yeah.
We're gonna take a look at the Fiber Teach hot spots for the lower freshwater region. Lake Travis, the fishing is good in the mornings for numbers of bass. Look in the deep marinas and coves for schooling fish. Throw small swim baits, jerk baits, and jigging spoons to get those. Move to deep ledges later and drag baits, jigs like Texas rigs, things of that nature, for some of those bigger bites later in the day.
All right, Jim. Well, Bahio sunglasses are definitely the new trend out there on the water this summer, and all you have to do to win a pair is enter in the hashtag #MyBahio Contest. Share a photo or video of your favorite fishing paradise and tag and follow MyBahio and @Bahio Sunglasses. If your fishing spot is chosen, you will win a free pair of shades and other Bahio gear. And get this, one winner will be chosen every Friday all summer long. Well,
you gotta love
it's
that.
almost August, as we already mentioned, so for the rest of the summer. every Friday.
You still have a chance.
You still have a chance.
Yeah,
you need to try
I need a pair.
You
I need a
do.
pair.
All right, the Alvey Reels Lower Coast region is paddling us through the weekend coming right up. But first, Dave has some shiny new products to show y'all at the workbench. Dave.
I do.
What's going on
I do.
over there?
We got this really cool
Looks
long
nice.
cast. This thing looks like it cast a mile.
That thing
Got a big
looks
spool
nice.
on it. Very nice.
Very nice. We'll be back.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Ameritrail. Load, launch, relax. Fenwick. Turn on the bite anytime. Tie on a Miralure. Diamond Fishing Products. Our reputation is on the line. R&R Tackle. From our tackle box to yours. Berkeley. Your fish, our science. And StarTron. Cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems.
An entirely new species of extreme predator is moving offshore. The Yamaha 5.6-liter V8 XTO offshore outboard. Extreme big block thrust and power in the industry's first direct injection 4-stroke. Quiet, efficient, powerful, and proven Yamaha reliability. More than an outboard, it's a fully integrated power system. The all-new Yamaha V8 XTO offshore.
The only reel with over 100 years of heritage. Alvey Sidecast reels allow you to cast over 150 yards with up to 900 yards of capacity. Alvey's state-of-the-art drag and 22-inch retrieve rate per wind is perfect for any surf challenge. Alvey reels are manufactured to best practice standards and are in fact so robust that the Alvey also comes with a 10-year salt and sand warranty. For more information, go to alveus.com.
Well, Dave, we're at the product showcase, and
Yes, sir.
this is a great collection.
We got some cool stuff.
Everything here a guy in a kayak could use, but
Yeah.
you don't have to have a kayak or a canoe to use this
That's
stuff.
true. We're going to start over there with the Simms CX fishing jacket. It's a really nice jacket. Simms makes really good stuff. They have been for quite some time. But this is the black. That comes in also in a camo. Comes from small all the way up to 3XLs. Completely waterproof, 3-layer waterproof protection. It's got an outside nylon layer and then a waterproof membrane inside that, and then a nylon tree coat layer inside even of that. So it's a really breathable. You can wear this on a hot day and not sweat inside. The 2 pockets up on the top here are waterproof pockets that are self-healing. If you store them improperly or whatever, they'll self-heal, and they're completely submersible, so you can put all your electronics, your cash, whatever inside there.
Just make sure you zip them closed.
Yeah, they got reflectors all over. These are reflectors. You got them on the cuffs. This is reflective tape as well. You got one on the hat,
on the hood.
Yeah, exactly.
And on the back.
And on the back. Just little reflectors everywhere in case you find yourself in the water.
And a nice place you can hang it to dry.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's actually this thing is made to go fast. This hood was built three different ways to adjust it, one on each side, and this one on the back goes around, and it zips all the way up really high on your face. So it does a really good job of protecting you. So
great product.
Check that out.
What else have we got
Adjustable
here?
sleeves and waist, the whole 9 yards. Get you really good in there.
Nice
Simmsfishing.com. Next, we got the Penn Conflict 2 500 LC. It means LC is long cast. It's a spinning reel. 4.8 to 1 gear ratio. which, it's almost five turns to the
Yeah,
one spin.
big wide spool.
Yeah, it's got a rigid resin body and rotor, CNC gear technology inside. It comes with HT100 drag washers, the same ones that are on at Penn International. It's got the Superline spool, a nice place where you can tie your braid on there.
Yeah, it's got different rubber.
Yep.
Rubberized.
Line capacity rings inside as well, so you can tell how much line you have on there. 7+1 stainless ball bearing system. It holds 355 yards of 8-pound mono, 450 yards of 15-pound braid. So it's made to cast a long way.
Made to cast a long way.
Pennfishing.com, you can get that. Next, we got the Garmin Striker Vivid 4CV. What this is, it's a portable fish finder GPS. You can take, it's perfect for kayaks. They actually have a little portable fishing kit that comes with suction cups, so you can suction it right to your kayak, the transducer and the head unit there. It has all the functions of a big unit. It's got chirp sonar in it, 2D sonar, just like the regular Garmin does. 7 color options, a high sensitivity GPS. You can plan and create routes, stores up to 5,000 waypoints. So, it's a giant of a machine in a little footprint.
Yeah, a little compact.
Yeah, so you go to Garmin and get you one of those.
What have we got here?
Oh, they also come with, this one also has a rechargeable battery, the portable option. So you don't even have to have a power source. It comes with a rechargeable battery pack. You can put it in there and take it on you.
Perfect.
Last but not least here, we got the Shark Tooth Line Management System by BBT Innovations. Our buddy Blair Wiggins is involved with this. What this does is it allows you to, you put this, you put it through the little hole there, which you just took it out of.
Store the line.
Yep, you put it through the little hole.
Slide it through the hole.
You have to do it from the other side.
On the other side.
Yeah. But anyway, once you get it on there, you're able to take your leader off just as easy as pie and reach under there. There's a little cutter, a little razor cutter. Boom, cuts it right off. And what it does is usually these things go all over the place.
They're everywhere, especially if you try and keep them in a boat.
These have little plastic ones, and you end up losing one, and you get one of these things.
And these are the worst for breaking. So
Correct.
that keeps everything tight and keeps it from unspooling.
Exactly. So go to Shark Tooth Management System, BBTinnovations.com to get your Shark Tooth Line Management System.
Great stuff, Dave. Great stuff this week.
Very cool.
Let's throw it back to Brie and see where we're going next.
Sounds good, Jim. All right, let's check in with our last captain in the Alvey Reels Lower Coast region, Chad Kinney, and see what we can expect for our weekend on the water, starting with how to get on the water. Talk to us, Chad.
So it's really good. We've had a great stretch of weather. Offshore has been great, which helps the bay fishing out. Also, we've had some light winds. Normally, we've got some really strong ones down here in the lower coast. So the long-range forecast looks really great. We got a Texas International Fishing Tournament coming up right now here this weekend, so it's going to be on fire. If you guys are down around South Padre Island, go check out the weigh-in. We'll definitely be fishing it. So starting out with some paddling, you can kayaks, canoes, anything you want to, but down here mainly it's more of a kayak deal. You can launch out pretty much any of the lower coast areas. You're going to have a launch area to get to the fishing ground. It's all up and down from Corpus, Fort Mansfield, South Padre Island definitely has some areas like that. When you launch these, main thing I always tell people is make sure check your weather conditions. Head up to either reefs or your long bars, and take some definitely good lighter tackle and enjoy the outdoors. There's a lot more tournaments coming up that I've seen with kayaks. We have them in Fort Mansfield up and down the coast. So the best thing there, if you're looking in for some info, check your local Chamber of Commerce to do that. Or if you're down in Fort Mansfield, there's an actual designated site on the south side for launching there, and they actually have some tournaments out of the chamber there. So starting out with some flounder fishing. We don't talk about flounder a whole bunch, but it is tournament time, so lots of these tournaments do have flounder. They're not in big numbers, but right now the tidal movement's a big deal. It's really dropping, so which means we've got a lot of high water, a lot of fresh stuff, so this water's dropping out, so the water's coming through these guts coming off the flats. So find a gut that's having some good tidal movement, and then some bait. Main thing is running through it. If you see any shiners or shad or something flipping or spraying, there's something probably feeding out there. Use a heavier jig head, like a 1/4 ounce to 3/4 ounce. You can put that on a fish bite fight club, to twist it on there and hold it on there. Make sure you got to be real patient with this stuff. You got to cast at every point you can possibly go, slow retrieve, slowly go through. These fish are going to thump it once, give it a little rod dip, and then as soon as you feel that, hook it and go and land it. If you're using some live bait, live croaker works really good, or mud minnows work really well also. got a great picture here of a 24-inch flounder. Moving over to offshore, Dorado is starting to be caught. We haven't had a bunch of weed lines or anything, but Dorado is starting to show up, which is a good thing. They're in the 200 to 300 foot area, like from Ranzel's Rock all the way down to East Breaks. Small hole also. Pull some smaller islanders, rigged with ballyhoo, throw them at 7.5 to 8 knots. Try to find any weed lines or rips or anything else. Definitely hold us anything on there. You're trolling for this. Pin Torque 30 works really great for a reel setup. And put some 30-pound Mamoid mono on there. I like that. It gives a little stretch when they hit. And don't set the drags too hard, since these fish tend to jump and try to really spit the hooks. Got a picture of a good-sized Dorado right here. And then next, this time of year, we're getting a bunch of billfish showing up. Sailfish, white marlin, blue marlin, being caught and released. A lot of releases, of course. This weekend, like I mentioned, Tip is coming in from South Padre Island, which will be full effect. So pull your full spread with islanders, rig some bigger islanders, rig some ballyhoo from medium to large size. If you can pull some plastic, use some mid-range soft stuff like that, some wide range. And you work, of course, the same thing, rips weed lines from that 300 out to 1,000-foot water, out deeper to Colt, Tongue, Nueces area there. Troll these at 7.5 to 8 knots. And keep a good look on your lures there. A lot of billfish are going to come up and try to do that, and have a pitch bait ready for them. To pitch one out, have a mackerel for a bigger blue, or a ballyhoo for a smaller sail or white coming out. We've got a picture of a good release on a blue marlin here.
Well, that's a great shot, Chad.
Pretty.
Got a quick question for you. For the guys that are going out chasing the marlin right now, is there any specific color that's working better than another? I'd say,
yeah, for chasing the big blues, if you're pulling naturals, you get a big dredge going and pull some mackerel for a pitch bait out there like that. If you're pulling some plastics, as far as color goes, any color is your favorite, but I like a little purple and the silver, or definitely like an old Joe Yee with a whitehead super plunger up close to the transom there with some whitewash. It will get them there.
Gotcha. Now, if they want to go with the sailfish or the white marlin, something a little smaller, maybe a little slower on that troll?
Yeah, so if you go natural baits, we'll definitely go, some ballyhoo with a little islander rig or naked trolling. And then also, definitely if you want to go to some whites, put it medium-sized islander with a little bit bigger ballyhoo, and then troll a little bit slower. But if you're doing straight naturals only, then you slow it down to 4.5, 5 knots.
Yeah, we find that the slower you go, especially with those nakeds, the longer those things are going to last, the more water you can cover, and then once you find them, then you can really concentrate on that area. That's some great tips, Chad. I'll take your shallow sports boats hotspots from here.
Thanks, Chad.
Lower coastal region hotspots. Lower Laguna Madre flats are holding redfish on the breaks from sand and grass. Flounder are not in big numbers, but can be found in the guts during the lower tides. And then offshore, Dorado have been in the 200 to 400 foot ranges, with billfish releases in the same area, and then all the way out to 1,000 feet of water. Now, Dave, do you like what kind of color do you like when you're pulling? Because you do a lot of marlin fishing as well.
I like black. I like dark colors back there. He said he liked white. Mm-hmm. All of them work the same at 8 knots. All lures are created equal at 8 knots. So, any color you like. You know what? The colors that work best are the ones that you put out.
Wow, Dave, you're just a wealth of information. All right, thanks for tuning in, Jim. Thank you so much for being here, filling in for Rick.
It was my
He's
pleasure.
obviously fishing because that's what he does. Someone's got to do it, right? All right, go out there and catch some fish. Be safe this weekend, and we'll see y'all next week.
Bye-bye.